I know of people who fill up their churches today with things that are dug inside their church, with things that are put underneath their altar, with things that they have done at the graveside. They dig in the middle of the church, they plant the pig's head. Once the pig ferments, once ibola, iba neibungu, lezo ibungu lezo abantu abazayo esontweni. They do rituals because they want to use the dead in order to connect with spirits, to prophesy, to see.
When I open your fridge, I see 2 tomatoes. There's an onion. It was left there last week. Can I go deep?
Go deep, Papa.
I see a potato.
Prophesy.
Shanda Rabai Kelemende. Lalela igama uvela bahleka Mdlavuza umahlasela ngomthondo amava kehlasela ngamavolovolo untombi zamangisi ziyamfuna ezabesuthu ziyenqaba zithi bathungvi kinka wena vivi ngihamba nomfazi onabasende the woman with balls. We are back namhlanje sikhuluma ngabefundisi pastors abanamasonto agcwalayo mfi ukhipha imali yakho yokugcina.
Yo, we about to rattle some cages. I don't think you're ready for that. But actually, I will listen to you talk about them pastors.
Really?
I'm a traditional reader. I'm a sangoma yinyanga nguma wedding.
Yeah, but I've seen a few cars written Pastor Mang Mang.
I'm not going to talk about clientele. Don't do that.
I'm not talking about anyone. Do you know a church by Pastor Mang Mang, by any chance?
Stop
you
it.
don't.
You know exactly what we're talking about. I'm not going to talk about that. Now, it's so interesting that we would bring the whole pastor thing, you know? Because our pastor, to me, are people who are wolves in sheepskin. Not all of them. I'm not saying all of them.
And where's why ngithanda le hawuzwake. Ngathi nginegama likamfundiselo uzophuma nje lapho lithini idlozi.
No, not happening. All I'm saying is that pastors are wolves wearing sheepskin.
Okay.
Not all of them. Not all of them. Truth needs to be told. Abafundisi bayaya ezangomeni bafuna
ukwenza. I just found out ukuthi kanti kuba umfundisi it's not a gift, uyafunda somewhere.
Yes, there is like Bible school, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's not my profession, and I don't need to know it. But I also don't want to be ignorant about it. I know there is Bible school or what.
So basically,
I don't know, guys, but I know which uyafundela, meaning they teach you about the Bible. They teach you about. It's actually very similar to. You go through processes and you learn things, and you learn how to how not to give in to material things, how to fast, how to pray, how to I wouldn't say believe, but to strengthen your belief. That's what I think. I mean, I'm not a pastor. I'm not into pastorhood or whatever you call it.
But I feel like lapha esikoleni sabo pastor mawufika khona kufike kuthiwe nje wena you are very very holy umfundisi idlozi alikho focus here.
Okay, but I think we are actually looking at it in the wrong way. There are pastors who seemingly will say, let me prophesy.
Deeper mama. Deeper mama.
So let's not actually scold our pastor. Our pastor bahamba bayafunda, and the pastors in Anglican churches, they're pastors in Catholic churches. I'm Anglican. I've went through confirmation. I've been baptized.
But can I tell?
Go higher. My mom is a stone Christian. My mom loves church. My grandmother was the same. I've been a Sunday school teacher, believe it or not. Yes.
No,
you know that. You know that. So please. No, but this is not. We are not about to discuss that.
No, we are not discussing that. I just wanted to tell you,
what?
Uguti, when I open your fridge, I see 2 tomatoes. There's an onion. It was left there last week. Can I go deep?
Go to Papa.
I see a potato.
Our prophet, bang bang, prophet whoever. They go to sangomas. These people, they do rituals because they want to use the dead in order to connect with spirits to prophesy, to see. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So kahle kahle uma ngabe prophesy akusuye lo khulumayo. The person that's prophesying,
something I say,
so unespoke,
yes,
basically.
Ufana nokuthi mawuthwele, guys. If umfundisi, and I use this word umfundisi just because I'm speaking vernac,
Yes.
right? Because I don't believe ukuthi
Umfundisi
the problem-
basically is a teacher.
Yeah, but I don't believe the problem is the pastors, but the problem is the prophets. Do you understand? Not everybody who's a prophet or a prophetess is a thief and a liar. Because at the end of the day, these are the people that go to sangomas bafuna ubutwala. And batwala various things. You could be in a church and you are told Guti, you must bury a pig's head in the middle of the church. When that pig starts fermenting my bola, if they la ama ibungu nanan, lezo ibungu les is the people that are coming to that church.
So basically, you are not coming for the word of God to the church when you are coming because
Because of miracles.
kunalento ekubizayo.
That's why I still go back to desperation. There are people who will go to church not to listen to the word, but to see the miracles because they believe in the miracles. If you cannot do miracles, your church ngeke igcwale. In order for you to be able to do miracles, ufanele uye enyangeni, ufanele uye esangomeni, ufanele uhambe uyothola isithwalo esizogqwalisa abantu phakathi kwenkonzo yakho. Then again, I'm not saying everybody, but it's been done. Just because you don't know it's been done, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I know it happens. There are churches, unfortunately, I cannot do something and reveal. We have priests who say that they can prophesy, okay?
Fire.
Because when you say you can prophesy, it is a gift that you are born with.
Shanda rabai kelemente.
You are born with that gift. And then you feel ukuthi nginesonto, the church is not filling up, right? Because people want to see miracles.
But
then you go to a spiritual healer, you go to inyanga, isangoma, whatever the case might be, bakupha isithwalo. Uyathwala ngokuthi kunezinto ofanele uzifake inside your church ezodonsa abantu. I gave you simple. There are a lot of things that you can use.
But
simple, I can even list. Do you understand?
No, okay,
There
can
are
I-
pastor rituals that can be done, which will include Elena, eggs of iskova. Not iskova. What is what you call that thing that eats the when there's
Nyagus.
carcass
Nyagus.
when there's carcass, what is it called? Vulture. There's eggs of a vulture, there's blood of a dove, there's a sword with satanic words on it, and this is a pasta, mind you, okay? This is a pasta. There is ashes of a rich person because we want to attract money. There are things that are put underneath that altar. Why do you think, Bo, can I prophesy? Bring your money to the altar. Put your money here on the altar. What do you think is underneath that altar? That sacrifice that you're living there. When you put your money, you are giving it to less twalo that the prophesy or prophet, whatever you want to call it, is using to draw in these people, and you're giving your offering, your money that you worked hard for. And this is because you must constantly come and give.
So why are the pastors obsessed with their church, with their churches being full?
Because they want to be idolized. But in the Bible, doesn't it say, do not idolize anybody but me, which is God?
Okay, ngiyayizwa leyo. Sengisho ukuthi okay.
Hey, everybody wants to make money. Everybody
So
wants
it's about
to,
money.
Obviously, it's about money. Why would you be going through so many things? Would you go and sleep at the graveyard for a couple of days, the whole night, and you are a pastor? Because you are doing a ritual, you're supposed to be there naked and sleep on top of the grave and have black and red candles lit around that grave the whole night just for the fun of it. No. Hence I keep saying, Guti, there are sacrifices in everything that you do. Whether good or bad, there is a sacrifice that you are willing to take in order to prosper in the things that you want to prosper with. Nobody can go and sleep at the grave for nothing. Imagine being left at a graveyard, a grave site, okay? Grave site on top of the grave, naked, and you are a pastor.
So this whole thing, basically, it's a career.
I don't know about that. I can't speak for pastors, but I can speak for pastors who go to sangomas in order to do rituals, in order to fill up the church, in order for people to bring offerings. I can speak for those.
I am a pastor.
Yeah.
Mina sengumfundisi manje ngifuna ukuthi abantu balethe imali esontweni. So I come to you, right?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. I come to you and then wena unginikaza ke leso scoop leso unginikaza sona I'm just saying ukuthi hypothetically ukuthi you give me whatever you're giving me ukuthi okay esontweni sekuyagcwala ke manje and then uyanginikeza okusho ukuthi angithi
sithwala siyasebenza.
Akithi manje khona lento le yokuthi angithi umuntu uyamgcaba ukuthi uma ngabe umuntu eqhamuka la like mhlawumbe umnikeza isigubhu somlozi ukuthi uma ngabe ethi uyaprophesya umlozi uyakhuluma kuyena ukuthi hayi lo muntu unenkinga kanje you understand that.
Yes, very similar to that. That is why when I was speaking about the ritual, there's certain things that need to be done. There's certain ingredients that you need to get, which are difficult to find. I mean, it is possible to find ashes of a dead person, you know, who is rich. Because you can't use just any ashes. It is possible to find a vulture's egg. It is possible to get a dove's blood. It is possible to get, there's that devil bean, which is called a wild bean in layman's terms. There is a sword that needs to be used.
But why do you call it a devil bean?
Because it's dark and it's very difficult to find. Every ritual that you do, when you do it, it's got to do with evil. It's not got to do with good intent. You are invoking spirits. It's part of an ingredient. Hence, I won't talk about imiti that need to go into that. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say to you is that I will tell you of the processes. I will tell you of pastors or rather people who prophesy or prophets that use these tactics. That's why it's not one of the things that you will give umuntu that wants to be a prophet or prophetess, especially if you want ukugcwalisa isonto. A lot of these churches, these people, and the funny thing is the people that go to those churches, they go wild, they go crazy, they will throw themselves on the floor because there are spiritual entities there.
Actually, usakhuluma kahle.
They go wild, they go crazy like bitch, hold on. You know, like, what the fuck is going on here?
So, usakhuluma ngaleyo, years ago, khona omunye nje ubaba think izinto eziningi angazifunda kuye, uSkepe Mketule. So this man, he once helped a pastor. So lo pastor lo befuna amandla ukuthi abanye abafundisi bayathandaza esontweni abantu bayawa yena kwenzeki, understand? And this man came because he had a problem ukuthi when he prays to these people abawi, nothing happens in the church.
Yes, I got that.
Right. Now he needed to do that ukuthi uma ngabe ethi fire, people must fall.
Oh, right.
Right? So this man made this man a belt. Understand? So this belt was for him ukuthi when he says fire, a person, like, there will be nothing wrong with you, but if a comba so we understand that you fall. That man did it for to more than 5 people.
If you're a pastor and you believe in God, but yet
okay, do you believe Guti, there are pastors who actually abanamabande?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have to because I know of people who fill up their churches today with things that are dug inside their church, with things that are put underneath their altar, with things that they have done at the graveside. I know that for a fact, and you know that too. Some of them, they hire these people. They tell these people, listen, today at the church, this is what you need to do. And when I say run around or swivel around or, whatever, like, the bitches go crazy. That's why I was saying, like, you be there and you be like, what the fuck is happening? I swear that man was telling us something. I was very emotional. I'm talking about my personal experience, right? That man that brought back the guy from the dead. I went to the church. This was after I did that whole Papgeld whatever episode, right? And then I met, there was this other guy from Mojalav, the tall one, that was also doing Jola 99. I don't remember his name. There's Jup Jup, and there was this other guy. He was an usher at that church. I went to the church, but I felt so many emotions. I felt like my world, at the same time, I felt like my world was being stripped away.
But why ungacabanga ukuthi mhlambe uNkulunkulu?
Yeah. No, I did feel like that because I cried. Whether it was because I'm emotionally not okay or I'm going through difficulty, at that moment in time. I went to the church, but I did feel moved somehow. But I don't think the movement was due to the fact that somehow the Holy Spirit came and channelized upon me. There was something there. It was something demonic. Because even when I went back home, when I slept, I dreamt of the church and wanting to go back to the church. And the funny thing is, I went to the church as a nobody. But yet these people were following me on my social accounts, and I didn't understand how. How did they know? Why would they be following me? Why? It was just so weird. There were weird things that were happening. I never went back to the church. I just felt like, why am I...
So these people were following you, so you were invited to the church?
I was invited to the church by Moss, okay, babe?
Yes.
And then I went there. Moss was an usher at the church. I went to the church. I had an experience at the church. My experience at the church, I got very emotional. I felt like a lot was happening. Yes, I felt emotional. I cried. I started screaming, and I wasn't sitting far from the altar. I started screaming, and even when I left the church, that night, when I was sleeping, I felt the need to go back to the church. I felt the need to go back to the church. And I'm a strong believer when there's spiritual things that are happening to me. Even now, in the 6 years we've been together, I'd always, if I wake up and there's something, I will sit down, and it's either, if I'm alone, then I will consult my ancestors. But if you are there, then I will say, this and this is happening. Or even when I got Isfulani, you were the first person that I told about Amapupo, and you went and you got me those things in his pupa, so that ngizokwazi ukuzilapha. So there was something that they were using, and at the time, yes, being twasila, but I was not strong in my calling. I didn't know what was going on. But I can bet you there is something in that church that they are using to fill up that church. I know myself, even when I get into a home, Labakangakon, I can feel it. There's something there. They are using something. Hence, I'm telling you, there are churches where a pig's head is they dig in the middle of the church and they plant the pig's head. Once the pig ferments, once ibola iba neibungu, lezo ibungu lezo abantu abazayo esontweni.
Kanti akujwayelekile ukuthi kuthiwe a pig is not holy or something.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are a pastor and you are going to a traditional healer or inyanga, in order for you to have the spirit of hearing the dead, and you are required to do certain things at grave sites, like spending the night, being there naked, being able to ukava and bagupa imit. Do you really think what you're doing is holy?
Ushuthi vele uPastor Mthakathi.
Yes, you are doing it so that you can be seen as powerful. That is why those people, when they say, "Can I prophesy?" people will go crazy. But the minute you actually deliver the word of God, people are not interested. People will come because you are able to fill up the church through doing miracles. Miracles using the spirits of the dead that you have gotten through a ritual that was done by a traditional healer, a sangomanyang, whatever the case might be. This is not your true gift. This is not your true calling. You want fame. You will get the fame. But in life, nothing lasts forever. In doing what you're doing, number one, you are jeopardizing the souls that actually come to your church. The souls that come into your church and give the offering. That is why underneath the altar, where you leave that money, that offering, that tithe, or whatever it is, there are things there that are buried in there.
But amanye amasonto se-digital, so khokha nge-speed point.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you being in that church, basebenzisa imithi, you will always pay a tithe. You will always pay your 10%.
So, uhlezi
That is the whole point of doing these things. That is why then they say, bring your offering to the altar. Who do you think you're giving the offering to? Not to the priest, not to the
God.
prophet, not to God. You're giving it to Islwani atwele ngaso. You are giving it to the creature that is there, where it's supposed to enhance his these miracles that he is able to do. And how you, by you putting that money there, it's so that mentally, spiritually, and because it's your hard-earned money
you need to
that
keep
you
coming.
touched with your hands, that you worked for. I always say to people, I can help you spiritually, but I can never buy you things that you need to use for your own ancestors. Because once I do that, that means that I can tap into your ancestors and give up half, right? That is why you need to work hard and use your own money. So when you give off your own money that you've worked for, your own blood, tears, and sweat, for the reason, you're giving it for a reason of wanting more, giving a part of whatever you think God has given to you, right? But at the end of the day, you don't know. You're giving it to the creature that is filling up the church. And that is why even when you have your last 500, because you're going to church on that day, you will still give 10%. Even if you didn't have food, you will still talk about a church. Hey, my church. Hey, my church. You don't have anything. My church, my church. Because this spiritual being works in such a way that once you've given an offering, once you've set foot in there, you belong to the church.
So basically what you're saying is, I can go to church, but I must not give offering.
No, you must give offering. Hello. Like I said to you, not all pastors do that. I mean,
But now, angithi even those that do that, ababhalwanga ebusweni angithi.
but look at your miracle pastors. Look at them. I'm talking about miracle pastors.
What if the pastor is
I'm not
God
talking
gifted?
Where? Take selfies with God. Where? Let's be real now, please. Where?
I mean, we
Where?
live
On
in.
his own, he's got devil written all over his face. You've seen his hands, you've seen his nails, you've seen how
But we live in
babe, don't.
South Africa entsha, right?
Which
South
is what?
Africa entsha le.
Listen,
We
if
have
you're going
pastors who can have God on the phone.
Oh, okay.
If
You
you
know
have
I've got on the phone.
We
Stop
live
lying.
in South Africa.
Stop lying. Got on the phone.
That's what pastors do. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but pastors who do that are full of gimmicks and lies. These are the pastors that use rituals in order
We have
to...
pastors who have people behaving
People like
sheep.
Pastor Mboro are people who abasebenzisa isithwalo. Look at him. You can just see it. You don't even have to, you don't have to analyze him. There are certain people that come into your life because you can feel the spirit that he's walking with. You know the spirit is not good. I'm not saying that I judge him. That's his bread and butter. It's okay, but we're talking about logic things here. I'm not here to judge anyone, but I am here to talk my truth and make sense to what I see. And that's what I see. As much as when people see me, babona umthakathi, that is their truth. They see that. And I can't change that. He can't change how I view him. He's never done anything to me, nor have I done anything to him. But that's how I view him. A lot of people view me in that character as well. Ukuthi mina ngumthakathi. And I will never change that, nor would I defend that.
Ngiyakuzwa. Ekuzweni kwami, I will still want to ask the question, which, okay, I can still go to church, but just not those with miracles.
I would rather, if I personally was a church goer, I would not go to churches where I'm being doomed in my face. Churches where they, supposedly they do miracles, where people are eating grass, where people are acting crazy, throwing themselves on the floor, where people, umuntu ungene nge-wheelchair, all of a sudden they say, get up! Get up! And the person is like,
Father God,
the person is like, as very well that you can walk, bitch, get up. You know you can walk. But because it's an act, I will not go to those churches. I will not go to those churches. Personally, that's me. I'm not after miracles. I'm not after that. I am a miracle myself. I've survived a lot of things. But because God and my ancestors chose me, I have evolved. I'm not looking for miracles. I'm not going to go to churches that provide those things. And that is how these people get scammed. There's a church in town that whenever I used to drive through, it's packed. Even outside, it's packed.
So what would you say to those people who go to churches with miracles just because they believe that God is in there, God is actually doing those miracles? Because, I mean, if you are going to church, you are looking for God. You might be also looking for the miracles, but you also believe that those miracles are done by God. What would you say to those people?
Unless if I've actually experienced a miracle with a certain prophet or pastor or whatever you call them, that's when I can say, Shem, you know what, or not, this I respect. This.
People believe what they see.
Yeah, but it's lies. They are lying to them in order to get into their pockets. They are using mutis and rituals in order to pull them into their church. It's lies. Face it. Let us tell the truth. It is a lie.
So,
babe, there's a difference. You
okay.
know, it's so hard.
No, you know, I want
Why
us to...
is it easy to, Uguti, you must destroy somebody's life? We're talking about now, not as a sangoma or a spiritual person, right? I mean, not as a sangoma or a inyang. We're talking about as a pastor. Why is it so easy to affect somebody's life through uktagatsiwa, but very hard to heal in a sense of uti, no, you can walk, and then the person stands up and walks. You can't do that because it's not God's will. I am yet to see a true representation of a miracle.
So you are saying, Guti, it's hard to ukuthagatha umuntu ngomthandazo.
No.
Yeah.
It's easy, ukuthagatha, but it's hard to heal in terms of miracles. Unless if you've got evil forces that will help you and provide those services for you so that you look like, this almighty, awesome, and whatever the case might be. But the funny thing is, in the Bible, God says, do not idolize anybody but me. But these people who own these big churches where they get these people and do all these strange things, they want to be idolized by the churchgoers and the people who come there. But yet in the Bible they say it's wrong. But yet it is a pastor or it is a prophet or whatever the case might be that is doing that.
Umbuzo wami ufuna ukuphindela la ekuthenini you were saying ukuthi okay, the pastor, right? The pastor cannot heal what you did by ubuthakathi ngomthandazo. It's not easy. Can I just finish? For the pastor, it's not easy to heal what you did ngokuthakatha by umthandazo, or rather, can I say ukuthi it takes longer to do that ngomthandazo than it is to do it ngomuthi, right?
True.
So umbuzo wami uyala ekuthenini, what if uNkulunkulu usuke safuna ukubona ukuthi ukholelwa kangakanani kuyena?
That's where, if you had asked me a question, I would have said it is the faith that you have in God. And that is the faith that will pull you through. No matter how hard you suffer, you will believe that God will heal you and not that pastor or whatever the case might be. I think at the end of the day, we need to face facts. We do have priests or people who are prophets who use izangoma, who get sangomas to come and do things at night in their churches. We have that. People must stop lying to themselves. And these are the very same people who will stand up and preach the word of God, knowing very well that they are using ilwane. They are using dead people's ashes. They are using things from the graveside. They are using eggs of creatures.
So basically, they in the preaching business, not in God's business.
No, yes, you are right. It's not God's business. It's
the preaching business in order to enrich themselves.
And in order to attract people so that they can be idolized. This is your hard-earned, worked for money. You work for it. You sacrifice for that. And you're giving something that you sacrificed to this entity. What do you think you're doing to this entity? You are now creating a lock between you and whatever your pastor or prophet is using. Therefore, every time you have money, you will come back and give it to the church. It's like isangoma. You know how I always say to people, I always say, take your razor. And I always say to them, even if it's not here with me, and you're doing something somewhere else, demand that razor. Because with that razor, I can literally use it. Every time you have money, you must bring it to me. Because what do I have? Your blood. There's no other true insila yako than blood. Do you understand? So that's why I always say, after you'll throw it wherever you want to throw it. Because I know there are ways of doing that. But I don't want to be that healer. I don't want to be that someone. Therefore, that is why I always give it. So when you work hard and you give whatever you've worked hard for, that you've sacrificed things for, because you believe, Duguti, you're going to go and give this to the church and life is going to be better. You are not believing in the church. The church is a camouflage. You are believing in what drives the church, in what uplifts the church, which is demonic forces. Because, as I said, there are rituals that are done.
So, imaphlama rituals that are being done in churches. If you just mention a few, this is what happens in church. To achieve this, this is what they do. To achieve that, this is what they do.
Okay, mind you, we're not saying all pastors.
Yeah.
Or all people.
Those that do it.
There are people that are doing it. That one, I stand by it. That is my truth. I know for a fact there are people that are doing it, and it is there, it's happening. Just because you don't know that it's happened doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So when we talk about pastors' rituals that they do in order to invoke spirits, in order for them to have spiritual powers, or dark forces powers or demonic powers. There's certain things I have listed that, you need to have ashes of a rich person. So, lawas konusi by a cremator. You have to have connections where you are able to say, listen, I'm looking for this specific ashes, and wherever you can get connections, and they give you those ashes of whoever they've cremated in order for you to use them for the ritual. You have to have a vulture's egg. You have to have a devil's bean, which is now called, it's devil's bean, but it's called a wild bean, right? You have to have a dove's blood. You have to have a sword, which is engraved with demonic, satanic words on it, that is going to be used in a ritual of invoking those spirits.
So when invoking those spirits, but invokelan, what are they here to
So
do?
that the demonic forces, the people that you are summoning, for one, you get the ingredients plus immunity, right? I've listed just a few. There's also muti that needs to be added. There's also blood and sacrifices that need to be added,
but
right?
What
So
must
that you
happen?
now we are going to do the ritual. The ritual on its own is to invoke the demonic spirits, the demonic souls that are going to whisper in your ears and tell you things about people. Demonic forces that are going to bring in the finances and the money that you want. For instance, after getting all those ingredients, it doesn't end there. You are then put in a dark room. The windows must be painted black. It must be a completely dark room. Anything that you do when it comes to spirituality or being, anything that's got to do with demonic forces or whatever the case, whether you have to be naked. You are then naked. There's something that is called a Baphomet star. It is drawn on the floor where you will have to lie there. All the corners are now covered with candles, which is the black and the red candles, right?
So what do they mean, those red and black candles?
They stand for witchcraft. What are we doing? It's witchcraft. We are summoning demonic spirits. We are saying, you must wake up and now take over my body. Become one with me. Everything that you do has a sacrifice. You are doing it because you want riches, but you don't understand that you have sold your soul. And in your lives is that you want people to idolize you. You want to perform miracles. These are pastors that we are talking about. We're not talking about inyanga. We're talking about pastors who go to traditional healers who perform these rituals. Mostly this ritual is done in Nigeria. So while you are lying on that Baphomet star with the candles...
While you are talking about Nigeria, there was a time when, I don't know, a lot of South Africans went to Nigeria and some building collapsed, and so I think a lot of pastors and abantu abathi basindisiwe, they were in Nigeria. There was a pastor, and then some building collapsed there in Nigeria. So you mean ukuthi all those people that are going there, they know what they're going for? It's not actually...
Some people might not know. There's some incidences where, like, let's say you and I were part of a cult, okay? And we need blood sacrifice. The incident might be intentional, but it needs to be seen. If we are looking for 100 souls, you can't kill 100 people. However, accidentally, if I need 100 souls in order to invoke a greater power so that I can be idolized and do certain things, obviously it will be an accident. Somebody's benefiting. There's certain things that have... Look at the taverns where people are dying. Do you think it's a coincidence? It's not. It's definitely not a coincidence. Somebody's benefiting from those deaths. It doesn't just happen. People are out there doing things and not realizing. You might think that you're living a smooth life. Somebody's always after something. And when it hits you, that's when you'll understand the factors of things like witchcraft, demonic experiences, or invoking spirits, using things from graveyards or the dead. So I was still telling you about part of the ritual. So you are in the room where it's completely black. The candles must not be on. You have things that you need to chant, invoking the gatekeepers, the keepers that now withhold demonic spirits. And you keep chanting until those candles light up. And they will, because you believe in what you're doing. Have you ever wanted something so much that you're willing to sacrifice everything to get it? And that means, hey, you've got faith. You've got belief. You know it's going to happen. Do you understand? So point you will say after that has been done, you have to go ematunen, where you lie down. And some of these pastors actually use children's graveyards. They use spirits of children to a point where once you are one with the spirit that is there, there are certain things that you need to do at home. There are certain things, you might have a corner or you might have a room where you constantly have to put sweets, like cakes or whatever, pour milk.
So if you are dealing with the child spirit, that means you're going to live longer, right?
That too, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is that you want to make sure that you awaken the dead. That's the point. So there are people who will use spirits of children to a point where we see when you go back home, you start hearing cries of a child. And you're willing to be okay with it because you are going through a sacrifice. You took that. You wanted riches. You have to. There's nothing for mahala. There are contracts that need to be signed.
I think ngifundele ukukhulu namhlanje. And what I'm going to say is, esontweni, you can draw my picture, put it up there, and just pray. And easy. Lalela, all you need to do is just press that like button and subscribe. Sisonke.